What is up, everybody? It is Grand Prix GP02 here, coming to you once again with my 2017 Hyundai Elantra Sport, which ever since I picked this car up just a few months ago, it has turned into quite the conversation topic all over my YouTube channel. Now, I have done a few videos on this vehicle already, so if you guys want to check those out, feel free to browse my video selection, and hopefully you'll enjoy those along with this one. But today marks my first official update on this car, so let's get to it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so welcome here to the Blue Bomber, or the Blue Bastard as one of my friends calls this car, my 2017 Hyundai Elantra Sport, which ever since I picked this car up just under 3 months ago, I have put almost 3,800 miles on its odometer. Now that is quite a lot of miles to be putting on a vehicle that is only on a 3-year, 36,000 mile lease rather than an outright purchase plan. Now, for those of you who are new here to my YouTube channel via either this video or perhaps one of my older videos, for starters, welcome to the channel. I appreciate everyone who has subscribed to my channel recently, which has been quite a few people, especially ever since I picked this car up. But for those of you who are new here, let me give you a quick spec sheet rundown on this particular vehicle here. For starters, the 2017 Elantra Sport is an all-new trim level here for the all-new body style Elantra. It features a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine sourced pretty much straight out of the current generation Hyundai Tucson and the Veloster Turbo. It makes 201 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque, and this particular one is equipped with the optional 7-speed EcoShift dual-clutch automatic. Now, I know, boo, automatic. Everybody says I should have gone with a manual, but I do drive a lot in traffic, and I also have some nerve damage in my lower back, which has been getting worked on slowly and surely for quite a couple of years now. So operating the clutch and stuff in a car like this, even as light as the manual transmission's clutch can be, unfortunately it's a little too much for certain parts of my body. So I went with the automatic instead, but trust me, even with no driver connection between hand and gear stick, this car is still an absolute riot to drive. It's dressed here in the electric blue metallic, and the interior is cloaked in the standard black leather upholstery with the red accent stitching. And there's even more little red accents here on the outside of this car, being that Hyundai reworked some of the parts of this vehicle here. But anyways, let's get to the questions first off that people have been asking me about this car. And there's really only two that I wanted to address with this vehicle here for this particular update. And the first one is, how hard is this electric blue metallic to keep clean? Now, a lot of people understand that darker colored cars, they show the dirt and watermarks and things like that a lot easier, and lighter color cars, maybe a little bit brighter than this, don't really show the dirt as well, if at all. Now, as we come around to the back of the vehicle here, I can show you there are a couple of water spots back here. You might be able to see them. There's a couple of little dirty spots here and there, but for the most part, when it's clean, or when you at least do a basic wash on it, this paint comes out absolutely sparkling. Now, I do have a bit of an advantage with this particular car because it was given a service known as Auto Butler, which is basically like liquid PPF, if you can call it that. You apply it to the car, I think every year or every 2 years, I believe, and it's basically like an extra sealant or an extra clear coat on top of the car's factory surface. So it not only gives it a beautiful shine and helps hide a lot of the blemishes and stuff in the paintwork, but it also does help protect the paintwork a lot more than just your standard hand wash and wax. And the other thing that people have been asking is, how hard are these 18-inch alloy wheels to keep clean? Well, as you can probably see in the light, there is a little bit of dust and dirt. This is about 2 weeks without giving this car a proper scrubbing, at least around the wheels. And as you can see, there's not too much dust here. It's very little brake dust. The brake pads actually don't produce as much dust as, say, like a BMW or a much higher performance car, even though these are the enlarged rotors here for the Elantra Sport. So the brake rotors here and everything are a little bit bigger, give you some better stopping power, and also give you a little bit better performance. But now on to the concerns that I'm having with this car. and I really have only 3 concerns, and they all actually have to do with the powertrain. Now, no, I'm not going to be saying that this car is already turning into a piece of junk and I'm going to be getting rid of it. The concerns I have with the mechanical side of things, really minor, if anything. So let me go ahead, open the car up here and show you under the hood, just so some of you guys can see it here. We'll go ahead, pull the hood latch. I love the sound of that door too. It's just so solid. Every time you close it, it just doesn't sound like a Hyundai of old. A just nice solid thud. I love that. Anyways, so getting up here underneath the engine bay. Like I said, this is the 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. And the first little complaint that I have with this vehicle is I don't know what kind of oil Hyundai puts in their vehicles. I can see that they use probably Quaker State or Shell or some kind of oil related to one of those 2 brands. But at 3,800 miles or thereabouts, when I'm driving the car at slower speeds on a quiet road, no music or anything playing, I can notice a little bit of lifter tick coming from the engine, and you can hear it more so on the inside. The engine is a little buzzy to begin with, just driving around on normal roads, but at lower RPMs, when the car's just kind of cruising along in 6th or 7th gear, at slower speeds, you can kind of notice it just a little bit. But other than that, it's actually not too bad. The only other issues that I have, as I close the hood here, with the powertrain and everything like that in general, is the fact that when we recently had a cold snap, if you can call it that, here in the Houston area, the temperatures went from the high 80s, which it's kind of underneath right now, down to the low 50s. For some reason, this car did not like that. It took it a second or two to actually spin over. I actually had to turn the engine start button off, or actually restart the car, as you may know. Just hit the button once, it didn't start, hit it again, and it cranked over. There, now I finally set it properly. But anyways, it took it a second for the engine to spin over, and when it did, it almost didn't want to keep running at first. Now, that's not because this car has been mistreated or anything like that. I drive this car like anyone would drive any normal vehicle, sometimes in a little bit more of a spirited fashion, but not much. But the thing that really annoyed me was it just, the engine just sounded a little poor. It didn't exactly sound like the sewing machine that it really should at only 3 months old. And the sort of weird running condition transfers all the way here to the interior in the form of that 7-speed dual clutch automatic. Now, I know that dual clutch transmissions are a little bit rough in some cases. They are a little hesitant when they're driving and they start getting warmed up and things like that. But even at operating temperatures, sometimes this transmission, specifically when I go to kick down a gear in just normal automatic mode, it sometimes hesitates a little too much. It's almost like there's no signal between my foot hitting the floor and the car's computer telling the transmission, hey, you need to kick down a couple gears to get going. And even when the car does kick down, it feels like it's a little more jerky and a little more hesitant. So maybe there is something going on with this transmission still. Maybe Hyundai hasn't worked out all the bugs yet, but I will definitely be reporting on that thing more as the miles go up on this car. But speaking of the miles, now comes the fun bit of news. So recently, I actually got an email from a representative with FCA. Now, if you're not familiar with who FCA is, that is Fiat Chrysler America. And I've been wanting to start getting different vehicles for better variety on the channel, start getting to review things that aren't exactly at dealerships, and really start getting into the world of press or fleet vehicles. Well, I'm happy to report I have finally entered that world, and for the next, I guess, 4 weeks, I will be having 4 different cars delivered to me for week-long loan tests. So yes, I finally started getting press cars, and I'm so excited to be bringing you guys all kinds of new content. Now, unfortunately, I've contacted the person who runs the entire fleet of Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram trucks, SRT, Fiat, and Alfa Romeo vehicles down here, and unfortunately, he doesn't have anything like either of the Hellcat twins, or really a Demon, or the Alfa Romeo Giulietta Quadrifoglio, as they call it. He doesn't have anything like that. So unfortunately, there won't be any kind of high horsepower craziness on this channel anytime soon, unless somehow, cross fingers, I can get my hands on something like that. But I do have some pretty intriguing cars lined up for the next 4 weeks, and they aren't exactly cars cars, but I'll give you guys more news on that as the cars start arriving, which hopefully I'll be getting my first one, I think, this Thursday. This video is being recorded on a Monday, so Thursday, May 11th, I will be getting my first press car from FCA. Again, I'm not going to reveal what it is yet. I'm not going to reveal any of the cars that I have coming my way, but hopefully this should make for some pretty interesting stuff in the future. Now, I hope you guys have enjoyed the quick little update that I've had on the Elantra Sport here, as well as my nice bit of news here at the end. Now, also, if you like this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up, and also please do click that subscribe button down below. Trust me, it benefits not only myself, but also a lot of you guys in the end, because you guys are my inspiration to keep making more awesome content. But again, guys, from out here in Houston, Texas, this has been Grand Prix GTP 02, and I will see y'all next time. Take care, everybody, and stay safe.